joining us today for CutFest Canada webinar, Studying in Canada. This is a guide for the Caribbean student. This is the aim of this webinar is to assist all of you who may be looking at Canada as a possible study destination to pursue any level of study, what to expect as you go through the process of preparing to apply to your chosen schooling program, and then looking at what steps need to be taken to get you there. Today, to help me do that for you, I'm joined by 3 Canadian institutions. We have representatives from Bishop's University, Carleton University, and Ontario Tech University. And without any further ado, we're going to start off with presentations first, and then we will follow this with questions and answers. So any questions that you have, you can use the Q&A button to submit your questions because you remain muted for most of this session. And so at the end of all the presentations, we will attend to any questions that you have. So feel free, if any question comes to mind during the presentations, you can put them into the chat, the Q&A section, and we will get to them after we've presented. So I'm going to have Mr. Dan Seneca from Bishop's University to start us, to tell us about studying in Canada and bring important information to you about what you need to understand and what you need to look for as you go about choosing and looking for suitable schools and programs. Hi, Dan.
Hello, Ms. Sheena. Thank you very much. So I'm going to start by just saying thank you to everybody. Thanks for joining our session on studying in Canada. And as we start here, we're just going to take a look at some general information about the Canadian university system just to kind of get you in the mood. And then we'll hear from my colleagues as well about the individual institutions. So something to know about Canada is that we have approximately 100 universities and 95% of us are publicly funded. So all the universities that you probably know of and heard of and think of, they are public, not private. So that's very different than what you would find in the United States, for example. The other thing is that education in Canada is all provincial. So we have 10 provinces, 3 territories, and each province has their own way of handling education. So my 2 colleagues are from the province of Ontario. I'm from the province of Quebec. And so our systems are a little different in that way. But because we are government funded, we have a similar level of accreditation and quality that we have to maintain. And that's one of the benefits of having a public system. Canada spends a lot on education. A huge part of our gross domestic product is on education, resulting in, like I said, a fairly uniform cost of education across the country, as well as a certain caliber and quality as well. Canada produces high standard of education. Like I said, your degree can take you anywhere. A Canadian degree can take you anywhere. So if you're studying in Canada, you can go back to the Caribbean islands, you can go to Europe, you can go to the United States, and you can basically go anywhere in the world. We have 3 main levels of education that students can pursue after they complete their high school or equivalent studies. So the first is the bachelor's degree or undergraduate degree. That's the first step, and that can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years in length, depending on the program and the amount of advanced credits that you may have or where you're coming from. After that, you can then go into a master's degree or a postgraduate degree. That's typically 2 to 3 years in length in most cases. And then from there, if you still want to pursue your education, you can go on to a PhD or a doctorate degree, and that can be anywhere from 2 to 6 years in length as well, depending on the structure of the program. Another difference in Canadian education, I know that you guys have been watching and listening to the American counterparts, as well as some Europeans. And so there's differences in direct and indirect entry programs. So an indirect program is anything related kind of to the health field. So medicine, physiotherapy, dentistry, optometry, veterinary studies. Those are all programs that you cannot go directly into from a Canadian university. You have to have pre-studies first. Law and architecture to actually become an architect are also programs where you need to have some pre-study first. And that can range anywhere from 1 year to a full 4-year degree. So just be cognizant of that when you are thinking about Canadian programs and studying in Canada. We also have three main styles of universities. And so I use the Maclean's definition, which is a popular Canadian magazine that does university rankings and talks about Canadian universities. So the three are primarily undergraduate universities, comprehensive universities, and medical doctoral universities. And so we represent a couple different styles here, but I'm going to talk about the primarily undergraduate universities because that's what Bishops is. And our main focus is on teaching undergraduate students, and we have very few graduate programs, and we do limited research. So we do have research, all our professors get involved, but it's not to the same extent as the comprehensive and the medical doctoral institutions. We are mainly the smaller institutions, usually around under 10,000, but many are under 5,000. And the focus is on the overall student experience. So developing the whole student, or you might hear a holistic experience. It's an intimate learning environment, few classes of over 100 students. You get typically more interaction between the professors and students. And it's also more of a nurturing environment. So open door policies where you can go in and stop and talk to a professor, as well as posted hours. You can stop in at the offices. And some campuses, professors live on campus amongst the students as well. And this is an opportunity to become that big fish in a smaller pond. So it's great for students who want to kind of excel. And if you're more of the extroverted A-type personality, those students typically do well at these types of institutions. Most are also located in smaller centers. So a lot of our smaller, primarily undergraduate universities are found in smaller towns rather than our larger urban centers. And the other thing to note is you will never see any of the primarily undergraduate universities on any sort of international rankings, just because most of those rankings are focused on research, and the primarily undergraduate institutions focus on teaching. So that's just kind of a brief overview of the Canadian system. And my colleagues will talk about it, their respective universities a little more. And now I'm going to talk about Bishops University, who I represent. There's a picture of our campus. So you can see it's a one-stop shop campus, one campus location. It is more rural. It is in kind of the suburb area. We're located an hour and a half southeast of Montreal, in the eastern townships, about 30 miles, 50 kilometers from the border with Vermont, 4 hours north of Boston, 6 hours north of New York City. When you take a look at our kind of student population, just under 3,000 students, 29% of them are international, representing 79 countries. Caribbean countries are also represented in there, of course. You get about 38 students on average in your first and second year classes, and then that goes down to about 19 in your third and fourth year. Retention rates of 83%. And we have 550 different exchange partners in 35 countries around the world. So that allows you to study at Bishops, but then take what would typically be your third year, and you can go study somewhere else. So if you wanted to study in the US, the UK, Australia, Asia, Africa, you name it, there's opportunities there. When we describe Bishops, I use three words: engagement, community, flexibility. And so what does all that mean? So community, you could see from our campus picture that I showed you that it's all about being on campus, living on campus, being part of that family. So 70% of our students live on campus, 95% of our students live within about a 10-15 minute walk of campus. So it is a 24/7 campus environment where students are living, breathing, eating, studying, doing everything on the campus community. So that leads us to the next word, engagement. So what we're looking for in students are those that want to be engaged. So if you enjoy your high school experience, you enjoy your community, you get involved outside the classroom, these are the types of students that typically do well at Bishops, because we want you to become engaged, and it doesn't matter in what: athletic, academic, religious, political, social, just for fun, whatever your thing is, we want you to become involved and get involved in those things. And then the next word is flexibility. And flexibility goes in line with this slide here, which is our 100+ academic programs. And I think that you'll find in a lot of Canadian universities, one of the ways that we're different is that you can mix and match different areas, no matter how diverse they are. So if you're interested in biology, but you also like fine arts and drawing, you can mix those together. So you don't have to necessarily pick one thing and study that. So that's one of the differences, especially amongst the UK universities, where you're getting more depth The American universities usually have more breadth, and the Canadian universities typically fall somewhere in between, where you can get the depth and you can get the breadth, and you can also tailor make a degree that kind of works for you based on your interests. So there's just kind of a list of some of the programs that we do have on our campus. When we're talking about admissions, when we're looking at the Caribbean system, minimum of 5 CSEC subjects and CAPE certification, no grades below a 3. If you're coming from the British system, minimum 5 GCSEs with no grade below a 5 or a C. And if you're on the old system, and 3 A levels with a minimum BBC grades. If you're an IB student, International Baccalaureate, we're looking for an IB diploma of a minimum of 30 points, which include the bonus points. And if you're coming from a high school curriculum, an American system, or something else, we're looking at your grade 12 subjects, 5 grade 12 subjects or equivalent, with a minimum of 80% or 3.5 GPA and above. Great thing to know, we don't require SATs or ACTs. Those are American. We don't want to see them. We don't ask for personal essays. There's no letters of reference required unless we ask for it specifically. So the Canadian application system, typically in the time you're watching this seminar, you could have applied to about 1 or 2 of our institutions, because all we're looking for at the front end is typically your biographical information, who you are, what you want to study, where you're from, and that's about it. And sometimes we'll reach out to you and ask you for more information if we don't have enough at the time of application. For us, the only extra thing that we require is for our music program, we require an audition. Otherwise, it's based on your academic grades. We encourage all students to apply before March 1st. If you apply before March 1st, you're automatically considered for our merit-based scholarships. And those scholarships are based on your grades that you receive, your anticipated, predicted, or final grades, and then how well you do on that may determine how much you can receive in financial aid based on scholarships. When we take a look at the costs to attending university, you want to take a look at this last row down here at the bottom for international citizens. So those are all in US funds. So everything in is about 28,000 US for a year. So that will include your tuition, your student fees, which includes medical insurance, your on-campus accommodations, unlimited meals, and books and supplies. So that will of course vary depending on type of accommodation or newer used books and things like that. But typically about $28,000 US is what you can kind of budget for. And then just to kind of close it off here, there's the contact information, our social media. So you can contact us, take a look and see what we're all about. And then there's my email address as well. So you can contact me if you have further questions. But of course, I'll stick around for the Q&A session. And now I will stop sharing and turn it over to Anna, my colleague from Carleton University. Over to you, Anna.
All right, thank you, Dan. That's lovely. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. So welcome to Carleton University, and because we don't have much time, I'm gonna go through the slides quite quickly, but to point out, just as Dan said, Canada is huge and we are divided by provinces, and we are in the province of Ontario. However, we are right on the border with Quebec in the city of Ottawa, which is the capital, and there are some shots of the beautiful capital city here. This is our campus. So first of all, as Dan was talking about the different types of universities, we are the comprehensive university. What it means is that we do have a lot of graduate studies in addition to undergraduate studies. There's a lot of research going on, and the size of the university is larger. So we are right now about 31,000 students altogether, and this is a shot of our campus. I like to see our campus is like an island as well, kind of sandwiched between the river and the canal. It's very beautiful. What you do not see on this picture is that every building on campus is connected by underground tunnels. So for students who may not think of winter is the most attractive season for them, you do not have to go outside entire winter. You can just go from one building to another without going outside. However, we do encourage people to go outside because obviously it's nice to enjoy different seasons. So as I said, our community is larger. We're considered actually a medium-sized university, if you can believe it. We're not large. 31,000 students from 150 countries, and about 15% of students are international. However, in Canada, you will find that the entire Canadian community is international. Everyone is from somewhere else. So you will see all kinds of people on campus and in Ottawa and in general in Canada. We offer 22 undergraduate programs. So there is anything from more classical arts and sciences and business and computer science, but we also have architectural studies, industrial design, a lot of focus on engineering. There are 22 streams in engineering. There is social work. We have a lot of programs that are angled towards political studies and policy development, just because we're obviously in the capital, so all levels of government are here, and we have a very nice proximity to learn from people in the field. So most programs will have straightforward, just as Dan said, straightforward requirements, just your transcripts will look at your grades. However, some programs require additional documents. For example, architectural studies, industrial design, multimedia design program within information technology will require portfolio. Our music program also requires an audition, and social work program will require additional documentation as well, because this is a licensed program. But everything else is just based on your grades. We're also very proud to offer over 100 programs with co-op edition. So while we are offering about 130 programs altogether in university, over 100 of them have co-op. Co-op, if you haven't heard about it, is when in addition to your studies, you have work semesters. You are employed by the company, it is part of your degree. When you work, it's paid, so you do not pay you do not pay tuition, you're being paid for the work you do. You have to complete several semesters of work, and it typically starts after your second year. So in your second year, you will learn a little bit how to search for a job, how to apply for a job, how to refine your interview skills, and then you will be applying for jobs. Once you landed a job, you, for one semester, so 4 months, you will be working in that place, and you will be learning your field, but in the workplace. Once you have completed your semesters of work, it will go as a notation on your diploma, which is very important. This is, I would say, is kind of a very trendy feature in Canada. A lot of universities and colleges offer co-op, so do check that out. Ask us how to do it, how to apply for it, what program has and does not have co-op. And you can see here at the red bar some examples of companies where our students doing co-op every term. To get admission into Carleton University for all programs, you would need to have at least 2 unit or 4 CAPE units, and depends on the plus CSEC subjects that we will look at as well. And then it's important that you know if you need prerequisites or not. For example, for business programs, you would need to have math at CAPE level. For engineering, for example, you would need to have math, physics, and chemistry. Math and physics have to be at CAPE level, and the grades that we're expecting are between 1 and 3. Sometimes one, odd 4 may work into some programs, but really for science specifically and computer science programs, you aiming for 1 to 3, just that. In Canada, you will find that most universities send conditional offers. So what does it mean? That means that we recognizing that you're applying before you have completed your studies. By the time you're applying, you are still sometimes in classes and you're still finishing your courses. You will be writing exams later in the year. So we'll look at how you have been progressing up to this point. We'll look at your grades. We'll look sometimes at your predicted grades, and we make the decision whether we would like to accept you or not. Once you have received the offer, it will say conditional, and condition is upon your successful completion of studies and receipt of a certain grade, which may be 1, 2, 3, whichever one, it depends on the program. Just as Dan pointed out, in Canadian system, we also do not require SATs, ACTs, personal essays, not part of the application process. And we would grant you transfer credit or advanced standing for CAPE subjects, 2 unit CAPE subjects with grades 1, 2, and 3. For example, if you've taken math or you have taken chemistry, you do not have to complete first year chemistry at Carleton. You can go into second year chemistry courses right away. The best way to know what is required for your program is to go to our admissions website, look at your background, check out your curriculum, select your program, and it will tell you exactly what you need to know in terms of prerequisites. There are two ways to apply. Specifically in the province of Ontario, we do have a unified application which is maintained by Ontario University Application Center. You can apply through that place and you can apply to several universities at the same time. However, if you decided on us, for example, you can go directly through our website. However you apply does not make any difference to us in terms of admissions. It's not a benefit one way or the other, so it's just for the simplicity and options for students. Once you have submitted your application, just as Dan said, it's super easy, a couple of pages of your biographical information and your academic background. We set up an account on our website, and after that, you can go there and just upload copies of your information, of your transcripts. So your CISIC results, your KPA1 results, your predicted results, whatever you have, you just upload in there, and this is how we'll be looking up at your application and making the decision. Typically, we're making all the decisions sometimes in January, February, so you would know your what's happening with your application and what kind of transfer credits you may receive well in advance, and you have lots of time to apply for a study permit, and there will be a session right after our session on that topic. It will cost you about, in Canadian dollars, between 28 to 39,000 Canadian dollars per year. It really depends on the program. So if you're looking for science and engineering, you're going towards the higher end of the range. And if you're going for arts and social sciences, you're going towards the lower end. We do have residences on campus. On our picture, you would have seen there are 11 buildings that are residences, and it will cost you about $11,000 to $13,000 per year, and that's full board. And it really depends on the option that you will choose between one single or double or triple room. So you will have a lot of opportunities to participate in various things on campus. Obviously, we have a huge athletic center. Given that we have 31,000 students on campus, they have to keep busy. So lots of things to do, lots of things to try. We are right beside the canal that in winter turns into the longest in the world skating rink, naturally frozen, so you can try to go skating. Caribbean students actually quite like it, even though they're not necessarily believe me when I tell them that this is fun, but I tell you it is. We have lots of facilities to support students. The best way to get to know Carleton right now would be to do a virtual tour. So take this link if you can and do a virtual tour on our website. And also you can upload the International View Book. You can take the QR code, or again, going to our website on our admissions, it's right there. You can download it and follow us on social media. Again, a very good opportunity, lots of stories there and options to follow what's going on campus right now, what's happening in student life, and especially in this challenging times. So, and I'm gonna wrap up here and pass it on to Brent.
Thank you very much. Awesome. All right. So thanks, Dan and Anna. Bishops and Carleton are two great Canadian universities. I've spoken to grads from both, and they had a wonderful time and wouldn't change it for the world. But my name is Brent. I'm from Ontario Tech University. A little bit about me. I'm the Regional Market Development Manager at the university. I'm actually a Bachelor's of Commerce graduate from Ontario Tech. I was a transfer student from college to university, so if students have questions about college, I can definitely answer that as well. I lived in residence, I commuted to campus, I was involved with many clubs and groups on campus. I did an internship while at the university. I was a varsity athlete. I was on the golf team. That's right, the weather is warm enough to play golf in Canada. And I've also traveled the world with this job as regional market development manager. Most recently, I was just in Jamaica and Trinidad this past March. So let's discuss Oshawa, Ontario. So Ontario Tech University is located in Oshawa, Ontario. It's about 45 minutes east of Toronto. The university has about 10,000 students, over 500 which are international from over 70 different countries. The university has about 10,000 students, and it's a great place to be. It's more of a suburban campus. There is a smaller downtown, but there's only about 175,000 people in Oshawa, so it's nothing like the big cities of Toronto. So Oshawa is ranked one of the top 4 Canadian cities for employment and growth, with a 4.9% job growth year to year. And why does that matter to you? Well, it's going to be great for internships and co-ops. As I mentioned before, the proximity to Toronto. So if you ever want to head into the city, it's great for professional sports games. So 45 minutes away, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Toronto Raptors, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And of course, each year in Oshawa, we have Fiesta Week. So you can enjoy some great food from the Caribbean, Greece, Italy, Poland, Portugal, Ukraine, and much more, and join in on the celebrations. So let's just discuss faculties and programs. So university degrees at Ontario Tech are all accredited. They're all 4-year undergraduate studies, and we also do have masters and PhDs. But if you're just interested in undergrad, with the Faculty of Business, we have commerce, accounting, finance, marketing, organizational behavior. Right there on the screen, you're going to see our game development lab. So we have game development and entrepreneurship if you enjoy video games or esports. And we also have networking and IT and tech management. We have the Faculty of Education if you're interested in becoming a teacher. We have the Faculty of Energy Systems and Nuclear Science. So we actually have the only nuclear engineering program in all of Canada. We also have Health Physics and Radiation Science and Sustainable Energy Systems. We have the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Sciences. We have the only automotive engineering program in Canada as well. So if you're interested in cars, solar energy, definitely check out automotive engineering. We also have electrical engineering, manufacturing, mechanical, mechatronics, if you're interested in robotics, and software. Within the Faculty of Health Science, we have nursing, kinesiology, and just a general health science degree. We have the Faculty of Science if you're interested in mathematics, biology, chemistry, computer science, neuroscience, forensic science, and physics. And of course, last but not least, with our Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, we have communication studies, criminology, forensic psychology, legal studies, liberal studies, political science, and finally, psychology. So what we have at Ontario Tech is experiential learning. And just like Anna and Dan mentioned, just like Ontario Tech, we also have capstones, clinicals, placements, co-ops, and internships. And there you're going to see a list of all the places. So if you're interested in business and you want to do an internship, you can definitely do that and make a little bit of money. If you're in health science and you want to do a clinical at a hospital, we can definitely do that. Our nursing students get over 1,000 hours of clinical placement work. That's the one thing we want to do at Ontario Tech is we want to put something on your resume at the end of the day. So when you do graduate from Ontario Tech and you go into the workforce, whether it's in Canada or back home in the Caribbean, you already have that on-the-job training, that real-life experience. So there's absolutely no downtime. You can go from graduating and having a job within a matter of months if you really want to. Let's discuss life on campus. So of course, we do have residence, 2 residence buildings on campus. They do vary in cost, but 2 residence buildings with 6 different room layouts, double-sized beds in all the rooms. Each room has a washroom and a kitchen. So you're not waking up in the middle of the night, walking down the hall to a washroom. It's right in your room. Roommate self-selection, on-site security 24/7, and a variety of food options from vegan, vegetarian, halal, gluten-free, dairy-free, and some very popular brands on campus, such as Tim Hortons, Starbucks, Pizza, and Smokes Poutineery. Of course, you'll see there on the right-hand side, all the different rooms ranging from about $3,500 Canadian for the year, upwards of about $9,500, and that would be for a single suite. And of course, we do have roommate self-selection, as I mentioned. So if you and a friend want to come to Ontario Tech, we can definitely make sure you 2 room together. Let's discuss sports on campus. So we do have the Ontario Tech Ridgebacks. As I mentioned, I was on the golf team, but we also have badminton, basketball, curling, ice hockey, lacrosse, rowing, soccer. If you don't want to do varsity athletics, but you want to stay active and maybe you enjoy sports, we have a variety of intramurals from basketball to flag football to soccer to volleyball. And of course, we have our health and wellness services. So we have a 10,000 square foot gym on campus, and that gym membership is included in your tuition. And of course, you have access to fitness classes, our health insurance plan, massage therapists, medical doctors, mental health counselors, support groups, and of course, a pharmacy that's all conveniently located on campus, just minutes away from your residence building. Supports on campus, so academic supports, academic advisors and peer tutoring, subject specialist academic accommodations. So we don't want to leave anybody behind at Ontario Tech. It is a smaller campus with a small student body, so you have access to anything you need if you are falling behind in classes. Personal example for me was I wasn't doing too well in calculus in my third year, so I actually went to go see an academic advisor. They put me in touch with a peer tutor, and I actually increased my grade from a C- to an A-. So that was pretty impressive. We also have peer supports and community events. We have international student support, so if you need help with visas, work permits, immigration, our international office can help you out with that as well. But a variety of supports on campus. So if you ever need anything at all, seconds away from getting the help you need and deserve. Clubs and societies on campus. These are just a few, but some of the most popular. We actually have over 150 different clubs and groups. But if you're interested in race cars, we actually have the Formula SAE, which is a student-built, financed, and driven race car. As I mentioned earlier, we have the Esports Club, and we also have women in business, women in health science, women in engineering. What we want to do is see women succeed in these roles, and it's going to be great with many different networking opportunities, resume workshops, and a variety of options to see our women have more opportunity within the job force. Let's discuss admissions and finances. So very similar to Bishops and Carleton, but specifically with Ontario Tech, you're going to apply as a 105 student on the ouac.ca. You have three options at 166 Canadian dollars. It can be maybe a couple of courses or a couple programs on Ontario Tech, and maybe a couple programs at Carleton, or maybe a variety of different courses. But of course, you do have three program choices for $166. And of course, apply by March 31st. That should be 2021. I apologize for that. But of course, submit your official documents and transcripts, and then you can apply for your study permit on cic.gc.ca, which is a Government of Canada website. So as far as CAPE requirements, as I mentioned, you'd be a 105 applicant. At Ontario Tech, we want to see you complete the CAPE with a minimum of 6 units completed. And just for example, commerce, we're going to require communication studies and pure mathematics that are both CAPE. With engineering, we're going to require a bit more. So communication studies, pure math 1 and 2, chemistry 1 and physics 1. And then computer science, we want to see communication studies, pure math 1, and one of the following, whether it be pure math 2 or physics. Just like Carleton and Bishops, we don't require SATs, we don't require any personal essays. The one thing, however, we do require is if you're interested in nursing, we do require the Casper test, which is very similar to a personality test. We just want to make sure that your heart's in the right place and you have the right bedside manner to become someone in the health field. So that's all we require. If it's just nursing we want to do, it's just the Casper test, but everything else, we do not require any additional documents. We just want to see you complete CAPE and make the necessary prerequisites. So how much is first year going to cost? Well, all in all, if you're, depending on the program you're picking, which meal plan you're choosing, and which residence you're going into, it's going to vary quite a bit. So it's $35,000. That's Canadian for the full year. And then if you do have the most expensive program, most expensive room, and most expensive meal plan, you would be paying $49,400. But once again, that is in Canadian dollars and for the full year. We do have a variety of awards you can win. So our Global Leadership Award is our biggest, so $72,000, and that's $18,000 for 4 years. And of course, we want to see you have high academic achievements. We want to see you be a leader in the community. And for that, that would be an application base. You can win in-course scholarships as well. And this is purely academic. If you succeed in the classroom, you're going to get some money. So $1,000 to $1,500 just for GPA. And if you aren't successful winning an award, we do have our on-campus works program. So if you are a university student taking full-time hours, you can work up to 10 hours a week, whether it be maybe working with me in the registrar's office, maybe working at the library, the gym, or within your faculty. And we're very flexible with your study schedule and your exams, and of course your social life. That would be 10 hours a week throughout the academic year. And then once you're in the summer, if you decide to stay in Canada, still want to work on campus, it would be 35 hours a week in the summer. So what's going to be your Ontario Tech story? So of course, I'll just rattle off some statistics. Everybody likes that. 85% of our graduates are employed within 6 months of graduation, and 77% of that 85% are employed within their field of study. Over a quarter of our students are earning more than $50,000 more, and that's above the Ontario average. So 1 in 4 students within 6 months of graduating are earning $50,000 or more, and that's Canadian, of course. And then 23% of our students are pursuing further education, whether that be going to college, maybe doing a master's, or going into some type of medical school or a law school. And where exactly are graduates working? Well, some major companies: Amazon, Facebook, Google, IBM, SickKids, Tesla, Ubisoft. Some amazing students are going on working at these amazing companies. So it just shows you there's so many opportunities at Ontario Tech, doing co-ops, doing placements, and then of course, finding employment at a Fortune 500 company. And whether you want to stay in Canada, go to the United States, or go back to the Caribbean, there's so many opportunities for an Ontario Tech graduate. I do want to invite you to our open house. It's coming up. So we do have a virtual open house. We actually have 3 for the academic year, but next Tuesday, so October the 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have our virtual open house. It's ontariotechu.ca/open house. You can sign up online and you can check out all the different faculties, supports, and services. And it's from the comfort of your own home. So you do not have to travel to Canada into Ontario and go to Oshawa. You can hang out at your house at home, and you can check us out online. Once again, that's Tuesday, October the 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Of course, follow along with us. We do have Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, Ridgeback Pack 02 and OT Future Student. Once again, my name is Brent. Thank you very much to Dan and Anna, and of